29 dimensions of compatibility and 0 chance for e-stalking. But now back to this scene. My leading man standing on the X mark in front of me. No Lifetime channel plot lines, no drama, just our lives, our storylines brought together as we walk the plot line toward each other. So we look deep into each other's eyes, and he says, and I say, and we say, nothing. Only holding hands to wait to hear the director's call to act or end scene. A switch here, a little political. Traveling. This land is your land, this land is my land. I left. I left my home to travel with you, immersed in racial identity and drenched in social construct, with the fresh scent of racial mingling still lingering in my clothes and my pockets packed with the paperwork required to cross invisible checkpoints. Attempting to protect my hair from the downpour as curls unfurl and frizz forms, creating a halo of ethnic ambiguity. Hearing the languages of the land shift and swaying my words as I move back and forth between classes, back and forth between cultures, perceived at times as a native and sometimes as naive. But through the rain I can still see clearly now differences in skin tones and hair textures and desolation left by those travelers who confiscate cultures and crush communities. But these are the sights on my tour, and the images saved on my camera, and I travel on with a few of the freedoms afforded to me by my shade when I cross one border, and taken from me when I cross another. I travel on exploring and engaging others I encounter to organize efforts to protect people from the downpour. I hear the thunder roll, and I hear whispers from travelers of a Mecca, a heaven on earth, a place of freedom from future storms where solidarity shines at all times, an ethnic land of milk and honey. But honey, I've traveled far and wide without seeing signs of this place. And I tell you, I hear these tall tales of a post-racial promised land, a tension-free territory, where no awkwardness or accountability can be found, where the lightest people tread lightly without any baggage. But misleading guides tell these tales to the racially restless who seek refuge from cultural clouds. God, I tell you, I've been traveling with no spaces left for stamps in my passport, gripping myself tightly as torrents tatter my belongings. And I know that this happy land does not exist. Trick travelers thought checking one box on one historic day earned them a naturalization ceremony to become citizens of an unnatural land with ethnic blindness and cloudless skies. Yet the voting booth did not provide safe passage to a land that is not our home, or stop the rain of racism from saturating us all. These are the elements we must face in our cultural climate, and this land is our land for all of us to travel as is. This land is your land, this land is my land. Bullets bounce off of me, no vest, just my chest. I'm just that super woman, that one you see flying, taking flight, taking foes, taking down those who dare to face me. It's just criminal how many I have locked up by locking away my vulnerabilities to where I admit to having none until that day. The day I stared you down, declaring the defeat of my feelings, sure that the shield of my skin would guard my heart, till you reached out and touched it. I glared, giving back only my penetrating gaze, capable of cutting through walls. But you were impenetrable, only reacting by absorbing my energy, and I began to see you glow, standing before you straight with my backbone of steel. But you make my backbone bend, melting me when we get close. See, we couldn't and didn't stay friends, but became lovers. And now I stay strong, live strong, fight strong, fly strong, except when I'm near you. Not where I expected to be. Because I believe that heroes are not meant to be together. Only solo, saying so long to flights of fancy, where feelings distract from purpose and emotional ties tie down. But since that day, I fight daily for justice, but still get weak when it's just us. Because that's when you glow, and I glow in your light. You, my kryptonite.
What was your inspiration?
Somewhat irresistible.
Aww. Aww.
Quit talking about me.
She don't have to.
This last one is so happy. Hopefully this one will be meaningful and all of you can bring it back up with pieces. Do this heavy one and be done. So you never take no for an answer. You never do. Never take no for an answer. The unsolicited advice from a stepfather when I explained that I didn't get the job. He spoke this edict with the confidence built from the privileged perch of masculinity, thinking that I would absorb this message and buck up. And why not? What would he know of situations where these syllables are not sayings but potential death sentences? He couldn't know, but I do. My lips formed the word no at 10 years old, when my innocence and understanding of the power of words was snatched at the same time, making me less literate, leaving my yeses, nos, and maybes muddled, and me nearly mute. Not convinced that I spoke a language intelligible, that one could understand with compassion understanding. I feared uttering the word no again, knowing the consequences. I needed so much more from these two letters. I believed them unmistakable in meaning, and had thought that the N and O joined together to form the most powerful of points. And unlike the word possibilities, with its options and open doors, that this word would withstand any opposition. To my young body existing in a vulnerable state, my hope hung upon these yeses and nos. Is he asleep yet? No. Is there a way for me to get away? No. Will I be okay? Those times created despair and desperation, leading to supplication with pleading to God to overturn the decision. Yet there are times the divine does not provide any answer except the same exasperating one of no. Such is the case of death and dying, when we may deny that this in fact is happening. And the word for refusal to believe at this point is not called faith, but delusion. But sometimes delusion's all we're left with. Imagine your soul screaming no, captured under the cover of darkness, when desire and ego and power places a man's will over your words, and he still seeks to an entrance to the closed door of your body, and against the unmistakable answer of no. If I listen, I can still hear the sound my childhood knows, made when suffocated under the weight of a grown man's body. The volume on these memories turns up and muffles what I hear when I hear men wield their words like weapons and swagger through the sacred spaces of weaker vessels. Can you hear how it sounds to me? Look into the eyes of that 10-year-old me and tell her that real men never take no for an answer. Tell her that real men never give up. Tell her that real men, they take what they want. So my stepfather told me his advice, to never take no for an answer, without knowing that my body knows exactly how that feels.